What is going on, everybody? It is Friday, which means it is time for my news radar. But first, I want to say thanks to all of your well wishes, as I have experienced a rather unpleasant week or so of migraine-induced hell. Not been a fun time, but I'm here. I'm alive. I'm trying to push through as best I can. So with that being said, again, thank you for the kind words and so forth. But let's quickly get into the news. And the first bit of news here is regarding the ongoing work to port Windows 11 to the original Surface Duo. Now, I have not actually applied this driver update that is being worked on. I'm not actually sure if he's even released it yet. But Gus tweeted this just the other day. You can see here, let's let this play. Clearly, things are not yet perfect or working super duper well. But you can see here that progress is being made in regard to rotation. As it stands currently with Windows 11 on Surface Duo, rotation does not work at all. You can turn the thing any which way you want. It does not care. If you want to rotate the screens and have it in sort of the this way posture, I don't know what you would call that in book mode on Surface Duo, you have to actually go into the settings and manually rotate the screen, and then go to the other screen and then manually rotate it as well, because it is a Windows computer at that point, and it would require rotation just the same way as if I had, rotating monitors on my desktop. You'd have to go in and manually rotate them. And of course, that's a feature that is much more important on a mobile device, a handheld device, a tablet, or a phone like this, than it is on a desktop. But as you can see, progress is in fact being made in the world of rotation. Once there are some updates that are worth installing, I will grab my Surface Duo, which does have Android as well as Windows 11 on it. Tons of videos already about this on the channel, and perhaps if I'm brave enough and confident enough, I'll show the process of actually applying the driver update. Maybe that will be something interesting to you guys for you to see. But yeah, there you go, more updates on Windows 11. I want to quickly give an update here on the latest about the Nothing Phone 1, a device that I am at least, marginally excited about. It's not something I think is going to take over the world, but it comes in at the right price. I like seeing new disruptive companies come in, do something a little bit different, and that might be this. So the other day, Steve McFly on Leaks tweeted out this image, which is a full-on look at the back of the Nothing Phone 1, kind of confirming all the different rumors that we had seen. I looked at this and I was like, oh, there's a bird on that phone. So let's get rid of the bird on that phone. So I took my very limited photo editing skills and I debirded it. I went in and I erased the bird. Now you can see some spots if you look very closely where maybe I kind of screwed up a little bit. How about there? How about there? But I did a pretty good job, I felt like. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Got rid of the bird. The bird is gone, okay? So I thought that was worth tweeting. You can get a good look at this thing here. We can talk about what we're looking here. Obviously, there's a dual camera setup here, probably a standard and an ultra wide, if I'm speculating based on the appearance of the lenses. Looks like an ultra wide. You've got a Qi wireless charging coil, which they have chosen to cover in this white aesthetic. I think it looks pretty interesting. But then after I did this work to debird the Nothing Phone 1, this guy comes along and tweets, I don't know where he got this imagery from, but he filmed the Nothing Phone 1 and revealed a bunch more about it. And I'm just going to give you a warning as someone who just had a whole bunch of migraines and is triggered by these sorts of things. Slight photosensitive warning here. It kind of bothers me a little bit, but it's not that bad. I'm going to let it play a couple times. I'm lying. This morning it's bothering me more than it was before. What you're seeing here is a lot of the areas on the device, like this area and this area, and like these are lights. These are little LED lights. All of these little strips are flashing a light in it. Now perhaps these are there to be a notification type thing, or you're getting a phone call or something like that. Very weird, very different, something I've personally not seen before. And you can see here as well, I'm just going to let it play a couple times so that you can see it. Normally this, like before, this bothered me a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. Today, still recovering from a migraine. Not really like a massively big fan of that currently, but you can kind of see what's going on there with it. But I do want to spend a little bit more time on the Nothing Phone one, just simply because there's an interesting conversation going on around this phone. So I've seen a ton of people saying, "Oh wow, what a great new revolutionary phone. It looks just like an iPhone." You can see here, there's an iPhone. There's a more different iPhone, and people saying it looks just like an iPhone with a clear back is what I'm seeing a lot. And so the interesting conversation that's going on around it, this is a conclusion that I think I came to the other day. I think that it's coming down to which way you're seeing this. If you see this as simply an iPhone clone with a clear back versus you see this as a phone that you're like, that doesn't look like an iPhone at all. I think it's coming down to the way that your brain processes information. This was literally pulled from a conversation I had on Twitter yesterday about this. So I don't see this and think it looks similar to that. I'm not saying not at all, but to me, I didn't look at this and think iPhone clone until other people started saying it. Then I was like, why? How is it an iPhone clone? First off, before we even get into that very quickly, I just want to dispel the idea that this is just a phone with a clear back. That it is not just a phone with a clear back. We've seen phones with clear backs. And broadly speaking, they would look like this if you just did a transparent back. That's what it would look like, okay? So if you think that that looks the same as this, I'm going to go ahead and say that your eyes don't work. Clearly, this is more intentional than just having a transparent back. They've gone in and they've actually stylized it. They've made it look a particular way. It's intentional, okay? This is not just simply the internals that exist in a phone, but made clear. It is stylized. So let's set that side apart. Now let's get back to the other thing, how your brain processes information. When I hear someone say that this looks the same as this or this, and I say I disagree, that is because this is how my brain processes this. I do it in chunks. My brain is a chunking brain, okay? So I go, well, let's look at the camera bump. Let's look at the camera. Does that look like that? I mean, kind of. It's in the same spot. They're vertical, but it is different, right? And like every phone has their camera in that corner. So I'm like, kind of. Does it look like that? Kind of, but the bump is not nearly the same. This bump comes way out to here. So kind of, marginally. But I mean, that looks similar as well. They all kind of look the same to me, broadly speaking. So I go, maybe. And then I go, what about this area here, up here next to the camera? Does that look the same? And I go, well, no, it looks totally different. This has nothing, and this has a whole bunch of stuff. And then I go, what about this area here? And I go, well, no, that doesn't look the same either. There's nothing there. There's an apple, and this has the Qi coil. And then I go, what about down here? And I go, well, no, this also is nothing. It just says iPhone. And then this has all this stuff and a different font. And then you go, what about the general shape? And I go, well, yeah, they all broadly look similar. This is more squared, but I mean, kind of. So like it's shaped like a phone is shaped, but like most phones are shaped this way. And then what about like the edge, the railing? Okay, there I can say, yeah, that does look very, very similar to the current iPhones in terms of just the shape of the rail and the boxy nature of it. But I think that's what it's coming down to. Like, I think a lot of people when they look at the phone, they are somehow processing the totality of the phone at once and just going, looks like iPhone. Whereas my brain is picking apart details and then saying the details of it don't look like the details of the iPhone. Some aspects do, but most of them don't. So I don't know why I'm talking about this or where I'm going with this. Just be aware that, it's interesting to me that that different people look at things and their brain pulls it apart and deconstructs it and analyzes it in radically different ways. Because as I'm having this conversation with people and they're saying to me, it looks just like an iPhone, and I'm like, I don't understand. What do you mean? I don't get what you're saying. I don't know how that's true. And they're so convicted of it. It's interesting to me to experience the differences in the way different brains process the world, and maybe just be aware of that. And let's wrap this up with a new report, some new information on the Moto Razr 3. I brought this snippet of video to you a couple weeks back where the Razr 3 pretty much is fully leaked. You could see it looks a whole heck of a lot more like the Z Flip than it did in the past. We've lost the great big chin on the bottom. The camera is down there where the original Flip kind of was. You still have the giant cover display right as it comes down. There you can see it's actually like, it's still huge. It's like all of that is the cover display. You can see kind of there now. But I think it's a big change in terms of the overall appearance. But we talked about the fact that this thing was rumored to have a pretty darn impressive spec sheet, okay? The new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, maybe the 8 Plus Gen 1, a 50 megapixel primary, 13 megapixel ultra wide, a 32 megapixel, not under display, sorry, hole punch selfie camera. Spec list sounded pretty darn impressive, and that led me to speculate, well, man, is this thing gonna be able to compete with the Flip 3 and the Flip 4s of the world in terms of prices? The Razr was already more expensive. The Flip continues to come down in price. The specs of the Razr are going up. Is the price going to go up too? Well, this new report here from Compare Dial, but it is apparently information via OnLeaks again, that the European price for the new Razr is going to be $1149, which would be a little over $1,200 in the US, which is a drop of like $200 or $300, something like that. I don't remember. I think it's like $200. Pretty significant price drop. And suddenly, you're kind of in striking range of the Flip 4, which probably is still going to undercut them. Probably still going to sit under $1,000 if I had to make a bet. But it's definitely going to be closer than I initially thought. I was worried that this thing, with all these spec increases, it's going to be like a $1,400 or $1,500 phone that was going to have absolutely no shot to compete against the Flip. Well, being a couple $100 away, and in theory having better specs, maybe a better camera array. Will the pictures be better? That's hard to say. A bigger cover display. You may be able to justify spending $200 extra to get the Razr if they execute really, really well. That remains to be seen. But at any rate, if this is true, prices are going to be much closer, much more competitive than I initially thought that it would be. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks to my YouTube members for becoming members on this channel and helping to support this channel in a more direct way. If you would like to do so as well and to have your name join the names scrolling across the screen, join button is down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.